Towards the end of the year, I was on my way to visit my family. Although I'm not usually one to fly, this time the ticket prices were outrageous. I didn't want to pay thousands of dollars and go just a few states away. I had made plans and planned to return home a few days before work. However, on the day I was about to leave, a snowstorm hit and I had to wait an extra 2 days. The roads were empty after the holiday rush. When I set off after the 2-day wait, I usually took the roads away from the big cities, but at one point, I noticed the headlights of a car coming up behind me. At first, I thought it was another passenger approaching fast, but it kept coming up behind me. I saw a gas station and headed there, but the vehicle kept following me. When I reached the gas station, the vehicle stopped right behind me. I assessed the situation for a moment and my instincts were sensing danger. I stopped for gas, but the station lights were off. There was only a snow-covered area and a road in the surrounding area. As I was filling up my car, I noticed a man approaching the pump from behind. I quickly filled up and returned to my car, but I had a strange feeling. I felt that the man was watching me. Just as I was getting into the car, suddenly 3 people came running towards me. They tried to open the car door, and with trembling hands, I quickly got inside and locked the door. The 3 people walked around, trying to knock on the doors, but they failed. After a while, they retreated and got into their car and sped away. At that moment, I realized that I had narrowly escaped a tragedy. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I reported the incident to the police and continued on my way. In 2019, I started a delivery job at a pizzeria near my school. I usually worked after classes, delivering pizzas from my car. One evening, I received an unusual order. The address was different from where we normally deliver to homes, and it took me to a business center outside the city. As I followed the GPS-guided route, the buildings around me became fewer and fewer, and I entered the business center area. However, when I arrived at the address, I noticed something strange. There was only a deserted building and an empty parking lot in front of me. The address was correct, but the building's lights were off. There was no sound around. I approached the building to deliver the order. I knocked on the dark glass door, but got no response from inside. After waiting for a while, the door suddenly opened. A middle-aged man walked in and pretended to be waiting for the order. However, there were no other signs in the building. Everything was closed. I delivered the order and was paid. The man told me that other employees were upstairs for the party and that I would be rewarded with a prize if I wanted to join in. However, I refused to go in and immediately walked away. Later, I realized that the building was empty and it could have been a trap to lure me in. I reported it to the police, but I never found out who was behind it and what their intentions were. I worked for my father's small construction company. My job was to transport the materials the workers needed and deliver them to the job sites. Therefore, sometimes I had to leave early in the morning. One day, I arrived at the workplace around 3 a.m., loaded the materials, and set off for the designated work site. However, there was an unexpected situation at my destination. I saw another vehicle where I had parked. Its lights were off, and no one was around. I got out of my vehicle and approached the work site. At that moment, the lights of the vehicle waiting in the parking lot suddenly came on. In a panic, I got back in my car and tried to drive away quickly, but the other vehicle started following me. After driving a little further down the road, the other vehicle started to go at the same speed as me. When I stopped and waited for a moment, the vehicle stopped again. But this time, someone got out and started running towards me. I immediately got in the car and ran away and called the police. The suspect was not apprehended, but it was thought that there was a possible danger behind the incident. On my way back from a city in the north, I was on a long overnight journey. It was a boring journey as the roads were empty, but at one point I noticed a vehicle coming from behind me. Initially, I thought it was just another driver, but it quickly started to catch up with me. He tried to pass me, but I accelerated and kept going. However, after a while, he kept coming up behind me. My instincts warned me, so I headed to the next station without gasolina and decided to take shelter there. When I arrived at the station, the vehicle pulled up to the stop with me. The people inside acted as if it was a normal gasoline transaction. But something was strange. There were no lights around the station, and it was dark. Suddenly, 3 people from the vehicle started running towards me. I quickly got into my car and locked the doors, and they went around the car and tried to hit the doors. However, after a while they gave up, got back in their car and drove away. I immediately reported the incident to the police, but the mystery behind the incident is still unsolved. It was a journey that everyone should be careful on, and after this incident, I realized that I should be more careful on the road at night. These stories show how dangerous night travel can be. You should always be careful and check your surroundings. Do not hesitate to call for help immediately if you do not feel safe. There are many dangers on the road where you may encounter the unknown. Have a safe journey.